me 1 second. I'm going to go over and get a drink, but I'll do that after the recap. Well, I just need to try and refresh where. Okay, I think I know where we started last time. So, last time, after the exciting first half of our tournament, it was time for the second exciting half of the tournament. And, well, I believe we opened up with a short meeting between, well, the entire group catching up, especially on what my dear uncle's been doing, since he just disappeared off the face of the earth. But, you know. Then, once that was deliberated, we went on to actually continuing the tournament, of which I believe it was I'm trying to think what it's called now, with the throwing of caber toss. Yes, we did the caber toss. And, well, we had a rather nice group of people doing it. We saw exactly how strong some of these NPCs are. But remarkably, the winner was someone that nobody possibly expected. Galt himself outbeat everyone, including Sir Alaric's mentor, which was pretty impressive. So, you know, that went really well. And then so we continued. And more events were had, such as the fight between Bree and Mansa Laygood, the fist fight in the sandpit, which ended in a draw because Bree was about to be knocked out and then berserkered the person just in one hit. That went well. And so Bree got actually wounded from that. I mean, he did as well. They both got wounded. And things went on. There was also an event that occurred. I don't actually remember which exact order it occurred in, but I remember there was an event that occurred where, well, it seems there was some tainted ale that caused a rather large number of incapacitations, which was rather bad, including to some nobles. I believe it was the Peaseberries who were out from that, as well as a bunch of other people, including Galt and Sir Ryman. And then, though with the help from the Maester and from my dear wife Rosette, we managed to help treat all of them, so at least all of them, so they survive. The other people may not be as lucky. And the joust happened. To finish everything up, we had a joust, which I believe Dorian Willem won the joust in the end. And if there's anything else that happened, I completely forgot.
Gormy.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. Gormy showed up on the back of lots and lots of horses, declaring that in 4 moons' time, I believe it was, since the Lord of the Marshes has become incapable, there will be a vote for who will be his steward. Also, a call to ride alongside him to go defend the house ruled by a lady from bandits or something. It's more the fact that Kurmi showed up on a bunch of armed horses that was a big thing. Did I miss anything?
Slight correction. It is not a vote to be the steward of House Cairn. It is to actually have the title of Lord of the Marshes repurposed for, well, whoever is elected.
Okay, just complete redoing it. Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
It is not something that happens, well, pretty much at all. Really.
It happened.
Yeah, because, well, it's very rare that a house runs out of capable male lords or heirs. And if a house does, usually it is because it's about to die. So,
Now I'll go get my drink.
Well, so, they have arrived. It's been a day, I believe. Did did you go to bed? I don't remember. They did anyway. Ride out to have their camp. The dust sort of settling as people are beginning to mingle again. Though the mood of the festival is much different now. The sort of relaxation is gone, and the air has a tension to it. A lot of people are moving about carefully, sort of looking at various nobles, afraid if they're mad. It's generally not nice to be in the way of a mad noble. While the nobility have, some red-faced, just retreated to their places, and others rubbing their hands together, smiling.
Can we take a note who was doing that, please?
That is literally Decim.
No, he is very upset. But yes,
Okay, let's just say those two examples could be Tali and Son.
Okay.
Guess who's who.
So Alaric, you need to kill Son Tarley, and you need to do it secretly.
How can I do it secretly?
Excellent.
Wait.
Leave it in your capable hands.
I do things secretly? How? When did this happen?
You have an average stealth score. Well, they got a penalty.
Yeah, the thing you did secretly was taking out a loan for the Lannisters.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's like the most secret.
Apparently. Ah.
Well, what I suggest we do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we gather as many of the High Lords as we can in our great hall, and we have a little sit together and talk with them, especially the people we want to sort of involve in our plan here. So I would say we need to talk to Selmy and convince him that it's a good idea to challenge Peak. And then we need to gather as many of the other houses as we can, and basically sit down and have a discussion with them, being like, you cannot support Peak. No. Like, have incredible speeches or something to sway them to our side here, because we have them all here, and it seems like a golden opportunity to actually try to get them, as many of them, to our side as possible. Because, I mean, Peak is not going to change what they think, of course. I doubt some of the others will as well, but we have a decent chunk, right? And we should try to mobilize the resistance as quickly as we can, I think. Because if these High Lords start riding away, we might never find them again. So I would say, take a look at the map here. So we get Tarley, we get Fossaway because he's kind of on our side. We get, well, Lady Appleton is not here. We get Selmy, we get Dondarian, we get the Peaceberries because they're here. Dorn is kind of on our side on this. Did we have anyone from... Who am I missing?
Also, a small note, Lady Alberton wouldn't matter anyway because she can't vote.
All right. Well, she's going to marry Gormy Peak. You know, that's why he's going up there, is to force her into marriage. And we didn't have anyone from Lockport or Stonehelm, right, Malachi?
There are no swans here, and Lockport technically isn't part of the marshes, so they don't get to vote. They don't have the marshal privileges.
Never mind then.
They're just sort of in the area. They're an important trade city, generally, where goods from the sea would come to the marshes if they don't come from the river inland of the Reach or down with the road. You want something from the rest of the free cities, basically, or if you want to travel there and you're from the marshes, generally it's Lockport that gets your business. Also, right now, it's full of plague there, so nobody really wants to go there to talk to them.
And we get Sir Ashra.
He's staying in the castle, so he's pretty much always there.
But yes,
he hasn't been there much, you know. brought
He'll be there in the evening.
very
Basically,
impressed peasant girls and showed them his cast.
basically, I think we just need to get these people together and try to convince them as best we can that this should indeed happen.
All right.
But what do you guys think?
I think this is a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, as said, it is an opportunity since there are people around. We might as well speak to them
Totally agree. I'll be right.
before we have to spend, weeks to get to them. We only have 4 moons.
Mm-hmm. Because after this, we need to enact our own stuff to get Lannis like propped up to be there, and that's going to take a lot of other stuff to do.
Mm.
We can also get Lord Trant in, although I think Lord Trant is more beholden to Peak, honestly. But then again, it won't really be a secret.
No, because
that we are opposing.
We have to publicly say, like, we're standing up against.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least you have to tell half the people if you hope to win.
Exactly.
So.
And the Trants, I mean, they don't like us, but they're not openly hostile. We could try to convince the Ashfords, although I do believe that the enmity there is too strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we'd more likely have a fight in the castle chamber.
Oh, I wouldn't dare.
You invite the sickly peaceberries.
Yeah, definitely.
They're very sad right now.
Yeah, well.
Their pride ruined.
This wasn't the first time, let's be honest.
That is true. Yeah. They have had to take a lot, and they don't like it.
No.
They don't like it one bit.
That's why we are going to be
super
friends.
ugly.
I don't care
think it's
how
that bad.
No.
The world will be great.
It's an acquired taste, right?
There's some good marijuana of them.
I mean, that would be unorthodox.
The seven nipples.
Even their father might oppose, though he'd probably think about it. Just
it's like, actually,
it is a marriage. Technically,
it's not the worst marriage.
could do worse.
Yeah, I mean, Decim is not really a looker either. Let's be honest. And
I guess I might be a little upset.
Anyone else you want to invite to your meeting?
do we have any other important players that we sort of, on top of our heads, want to invite to this?
I can't think of any. It's mainly just the lords of note in the marshes, basically, isn't it? That we want to invite, and Ashra.
He's a lord of note.
He is a lord of note, but not. But the marshes bit I added on doesn't include him.
Nope, he certainly isn't a martial lord. Those people are generally dreary and have a tendency to be very boring and serious all the time. He's not a fan of that.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
We haven't been boring this time, have we? Just to the field.
No, it's incredibly exciting.
Super exciting. We're the most exciting people in the world.
So would you just set everyone down at the tables and have no one be at the high seat with you?
We would basically, I wouldn't even be, I would just stand up here more like a stage, you know?
It's a slightly raised plinth.
Plinth.
Slightly.
That's a good word, I like it, plinth. I mean, we don't want to insult anyone, they're all honored guests, so...
Our high table isn't that big.
No, our high table is not that big, honestly.
I mean, it's not supposed to be for everyone to sit at.
Exactly.
I'm unsure exactly what etiquette dictates in this case, but whoa! Look at all these people.
God!
Oh, Bonifer, look at you. You're glorious.
Oh, he is, isn't he?
Thank you, Sir Ashra.
He has his feet on the table. Sort of that thing where he leans the chair back.
On the high table.
Fucking Ashra.
Sat with him.
Oh, okay. You're better than everyone else, huh?
Not at all. I'm just eating my lovely food.
Just that awkwardly sort of eating while everyone's just talking like, should I
just
be
like
here?
slightly looking
I'm just
up.
having my lunch. Be really quiet about it.
It's like when you're in like the cafeteria at work and the bosses just walk in and they all sit around a table and they start talking and you're just like, should I leave or am I all right here?
So Ashra is definitely being disrespectful, but that's what he likes to do because he's pretty sure you're not going to do anything about it. No one's going to do anything about it.
He can swing his weight and no one will care.
I could pick him up and move him, but
That would be disrespectful to him.
I know.
Yeah, it's him and his freaking Tyrell lordshipness.
Welcome, what happens when you have a higher status than someone else?
It's like a
While-
magical shield.
Like while this is being organized, Malachi, Dustin would like just to have a quick word with Mr. Cole and be like, so Peak declared Lord Caron incapable. Would you agree with that assessment? Like, would that be?
Lord Karen is not going to lead any armies anytime soon if he values his life. That certainly would be true. He's going to drink water or milk, like a child generally would. His insides are
I get it. I think you don't need to describe, Master Cole. Thank you.
He's not. He will live, however, if he follows the.
So
if he does what I told him to do.
would Lord Caron actually get a vote in this? I'm wondering. Because he's not. I mean, he can move around and talk. He hasn't lost his mind.
Yeah, but if his class is incapable, then
He's not technically incapable to rule his house.
No.
But what matters in the marshes, and this goes back to the reason for why the marshes are a thing generally,
Able to lead.
is that you have to be able to take, on like a moment's notice, take 100 of your standing soldiers and move to the Lord of the Marshes, like leading them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it, or your heir has to be able to do it.
okay, we're
And
pretty solid.
if you cannot do that, then, well, you
No,
don't get a vote.
No, Alaric, we're not solid at all in that regard. That's the problem here.
Shit, yeah, you're right. Actually, because they're fuck.
Yeah, no, we are technically. That's the thing. We don't have a vote in this. That's why we need to do a lot of maneuvering to get a vote later on.
Yeah,
But we
You
need
do, but it would be the heir to your house who gets the vote.
But then the heir to our house is with Peak.
Yeah, that's what I say. No, he's not. We don't have an heir at Peak. I don't know what you're talking about.
So we definitely need to remove him before the 4th moon.
I don't know who you're talking about. There is no other.
Um,
You need to get on message here, Alaric. You need to
Got
sell
the
this.
message, man, but
it does mean it does mean that House Karen doesn't get a vote because its Lord can't lead an army, and most certainly I don't think Little Memphis is going to be leading an army.
Manfer can. I'll teach him. Come on, Manfer.
How old is Manfer?
It's like 12.
12.
Still a few years away.
Too young,
Yeah,
basically.
too young, definitely.
Depends why this is an issue at all. If he could just be declared the Lord of the Marshes, then that would be the solution.
If only we could do what chat says. We just leave the marshes and go to Bravos.
I mean, we can. That's
Well,
always a
we
way.
can,
Could
but I
probably
mean,
sell
like,
this castle for a lot of money.
we probably could, yeah.
Probably to Peak.
Become traders in Bravos, just like your cousin.
You know, it's
I know we've had a long history. We
brother.
should buy our
No.
castle.
we're not there yet. If desperation pushes us to that, we might go for it. But we're not quite there yet, I would say.
To learn to swim.
I can teach you.
Only need a bonus die. That's only, what, 10 XP? There we go.
I only have a 6.
You only need a bonus die until you fall in the water.
Wow. Until it's anything past calm. Then fucked.
All right then. Then with the people getting some food and getting some drink and stuff, then Desmond will turn to the assembled masses. And
We'll go and not be here.
yeah. And say he will open up and say basically, well, my lords, welcome. I hope the past weeks has been pleasant for you here on the Caladan lands, and I hope that the tournament has been the spectacle you all hoped for. And what a fantastic ending to the festivities we got. Not exactly the good news that I was hoping for, but something much more troubling. I shall speak quite candidly to you, my lords, because I do think the situation warrants it. He sort of leans heavily on his cane and says, it is troubling that Lord Karen has been declared incapable of ruling. As far as I was led to believe, he is certainly not dying, although he is very sick. The problem then stands before us is what to do next. Gormy Peak has declared himself quite clearly in front of all of us. But in my opinion, Gormy Peak is not perhaps the most suitable for the position of Lord of the Marshes. He is powerful and warlike, that is true. But, he looks over, he is utterly incapable when it comes to any form of diplomacy, trade, or anything else that doesn't involve him smashing his face against a rock wall somewhere. He is a violent man. He is a rash man, and him leading the marshes is not good for us, the lords of the marshes. Instead, my lords, I would suggest that we put up someone to challenge Lord Peak for this position. It is a vote, and him himself can do nothing if we vote against him. It is as simple as that. There is many fine candidates when it comes to this election, in my opinion. But there is one in particular that I would personally think would be a far superior choice in this case, and that is the one that is among let's see here, a fine commander, and that has distinguished himself quite a bit on the battlefield. Someone who has also shown that he is capable of ruling, and on top of all, is someone that I think we could all accept. Therefore, I would forward that Baron Selmy would be the challenger to Lord Peak. I guess I'll do a convince roll or something here to sort of try to...
Well, as you say that, sort of Dundarian moves his head into his hands, sort of palms against his forehead, as Lord Baron sort of looks slightly surprised, and then sort of his face turns into a broad smile. Clearly very pleased.
These are...
Tali looks wounded.
Oh, these are dark times, my lords. We need to contend with Gormy Peak, who is, in all fairness, more of a raging bull than a man at this point. We also have the whispers of trouble coming from the east. This is a time where we need to stand united, in my opinion. And if I have learned anything in all my years, it is that Gormy Peak knows about as much of unification and unity and working together As would a Northlander know about wine. That would be a 19. I might convince if that helps. It's very convincing.
You do all of the damage.
Well, you'll certainly have a few. Selwyn looks at Barum, who sort of doesn't really look at anyone except sort of around, sort of rising himself a little bit in his seat. He is a man known for very much having a tendency to feel sort of prideful. He certainly loves him some glory. And you have sort of a look from Lionel Dundarian to you saying, "What have you done? Why, oh why did you choose him?" Never gonna hear the end of it. Now this is gonna be a thing. Sir Stefan is sort of looking into his glass, sort of half full. He's drinking from it quietly, not really saying much, not really looking at anyone. Just sort of a slumped down, slightly defeated look about him. The Peaceberries are they look sick. I mean, they're like just sort of slumped over the tables. Look even worse than they usually do. From the look of sort of Oswald, he's trying very hard to sort of not look like he doesn't want to be... Like, he's trying to look like they don't smell really bad. But they probably do, considered. Well, Trent scowls and looks like you're wasting his time. That's a general thing about him, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, good to know. Well, Edgar is looking at you. His face hard to read. Perhaps he's contemplating things. Edric sort of is quivering slightly at the edge of his mouth, clearly angry. As he stands, I'll actually just make all of these guys prone so we can easier see who speaks. Well, maybe I should just make a ring about the person who is actually talking. That might actually make it easier to do. Person talks, get to be prone. Well, Edric will stand and sort of look at you and frown. She says, "So you think that you can just come here and talk about Lord Peake in such a way? He's proven himself many a time. He's led battles from when he was young, when there was still war to be fought and glories to win. He's an able commander and has won battles for us before. He was in Dawn when they won." He sort of looks. "This house, Caladan, they were home, counting potatoes in Highgarden. Perhaps they would want us to elect someone like that."
Dessem looks at him and says, "Well, first of all, Edric Trent, you are certainly welcome in our hall, and I did certainly not come here to speak to anyone. I live here, if that might have slipped your mind, sir." Then looks at him. "And that is also why I forwarded someone that in my experience and in my opinion is the equal to Lord Peake when it comes to battlefield command and battlefield prowess. I do not say that we are to elect ourselves to this position. I did not say that we were to elect someone who was counting potatoes either. I think you have insulted both me and Lord Selmy."
"You talk of insults. We all heard the way you spoke about Gormy," sort of bows. "He is chosen by Lord Tyrell to serve as the steward of the marshes until such a time as a new one can be elected. Does that not show some of his worth? I think you're too fast to discount him as a possible candidate. Perhaps your house's enmity with the Peaks has something to do with it, more so than Lord Gormy's skill. Lord Selwyn stands up, frowning heavily. He said, "Sit down, Trent. Nobody cares what you have to say."
I fucking love him.
Edric scowls as Edgar sort of takes his arm and pulls him down, frowning at him.
Oh, Selwyn.
Oh, I want to buy him like a keg of beer.
Go on.
Says, Lord Caladan is right. Can't let someone like Gormy do this. He would take everything we have, and more so. She said, he doesn't have what it takes. Says, perhaps Selmy does.
The only thing Lord Peak has in abundance is bloodlust and rage. He has won battles, yes, but it is not with cunning tactics or clever insights. He wins by doing what he always does, rushing blindly forward, striking until whatever he attacks is dead. He's a brute. He's not a leader. His infamy comes from his military strength. Perhaps none of you saw him at the courts of Highgarden, where we were a month or so ago. It was pitiful to see him try to speak. His only recourse from the pathetic situation he found himself in was to offer my niece cake. Does some sort of looks very serious at this, but there's maybe a slight smile.
Something about yes, just what a bloodthirsty man would do. So, Selwyn sits down again. Lord Dundarian chooses to stand. Logarian bring out his hands in sort of a peaceful gesture. He says, now, everyone. This is an election, as they did them in old, but we must not get too invested, as we must remember that these things come and go. He sort of puts a hand on the shoulder of Lord Selmy, perhaps to calm him down a little bit. Such a title is fleeting. Time is long. He says, there is no reason to break friendships over this. I should think, perhaps, that we should elect someone entirely different. Sort of looks down to Baron. Someone whom everyone could agree upon, even Lord Peak. Unless, what would be the point if there cannot be a consensus? He looks to Trent and says, and I believe someone who could make this land flourish and grow would be an excellent choice. He sits down. Give everyone who sort of looks at him a smile. Talia looks at him with a deep frown.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Stefan will stand. Sir Stefan will stand and say, I'm sorry, my lords, but I don't see much of a point to having this conversation. I will show myself out. Everyone sort of sits quietly, looking at one another for time.
The marshes has always been a martial place. We have always relied on our military strength and our cunning to keep the different duties we have to keep in check. And that is why I do believe someone martial is a good choice for this title. Currently we have peace, yes, but I do believe that peace will not be everlasting. How sad that is.
Us, future Lord of the Marshes. I can guarantee you
You do go on.
that I would not, as Lord Karen has done, sit upon this title. He sort of reaches his hand up and sort of makes it into a fist a little bit. Bandits have prowled our land. No, I would gather the martial lords, and I would ride into the Red Mountains with all of our force to root them out. No more should our lands be harrowed. No more should our small folk be killed or kidnapped. No longer should we fear the roads at night. It would be a glorious fight. Perhaps not against a glorious opponent, but it is the best we can get for now.
Yeah, that's exactly, Grimmeth. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Anything is better than Gormy Peak.
I mean, Selmy doesn't seem that much better at this point.
He is the thing with Selmy is that I know him a little bit, and he is, compared to Peak, he's actually quite honorable. He likes fighting, yes. He's adventurous, yes, but he is not outright like evil like Gormy Peak is. And between the two of them, he is, for us at least, the far better choice.
Yeah, I would say Tarly if it wasn't for Sam. If Sam wasn't here, Tarly. But
no, Tarly would be like, no one likes Tarly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I looked at this map and I talked to Grimmeth a little bit about it, and what did he ask last? Anyway, we talked a little bit about it, and it was basically like who to pick, and Selmy, to me at that point, seemed like the most likely candidate. Like Dondarrion, he's too peaceful. The other martial lords wouldn't accept him. Like, I like Dondarrion, I would be fine with him, but everyone is like, oh, he's a wimp, you know. We can't get behind him. Tarly, he is fairly disliked actually, and that's mainly because of his son, who's a fucking bastard.
And although we might have enmity reputation with House Peak, you better believe House Tarly has that in spades.
Like,
yeah, it's even worse in that he tried to kill. Sam tried to Selwyn sent Sam to try to kill Peak's daughter. That's like what they did recently.
Yeah.
And
What?
Peaceberries, no one can follow the Peaceberries. Come on, look at that. And the Trans, they're too disliked. They will never win a vote. So to me, it was like.
Yeah, I see.
It was Selmy or Dondarrion, and Selmy seemed more likely.
Dondarrion stands again and looks over to the Peaceberry, sort of has a sort of a slightly condescending smile. Oh, you poor fools, sort of look. He says, perhaps Lord Peaceberry would be a good choice. The man has shown that he knows how to drive a bargain, how to earn wealth from these blasted hills, the marshes. I think such a man would be a good choice for the position. He sits down there. Peaceberries look over, but they're almost too sick to really give a damn.
Is Ashura even really listening to this? Like, is he...
Oh yeah, he is. He's listening. He's not saying much.
Is he giving away anything? Like, when somebody talks, he's like, winces at what they're saying?
That sounds like an awareness empathy test from...
Definitely try to gather what he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems that if he has something to say, it generally would be impossible to see because he drinks whenever he would perhaps have a... He certainly hasn't spit his ale out or anything yet.
That's spit take.
Edgar stands. She looks over at something. Says, personally, sort of looks down to his father, who doesn't do much, but just he sits back basically. Doesn't do a whole lot. Says, I would have no problem with Lord Selmy being elected. However, there is the matter of the potential enmity such a choice would create with House Peak. I must think of my house. Such enmity would be bad for a house such as ours that has it hard enough with finding allies as it is. House Peak is strong. Lord Gorman has sons and grandsons, and the house will likely endure for a very long time. Furthermore, the house has daughters who are yet unmarried, which is something that the Marshes have a lack of at the moment. Perhaps if House Selmy or those advocating for it would offer similar things, House Trent could be swayed. Should sit down again.
Is he asking for bitches?
How about a drop of Lannis's blood?
Yes, we have something you'd really want. Lannis, come over here. Maybe we can throw Lord Aaron to them.
We could probably, we could probably sway them over by just saying, we can sort out some alliance. Written alliance, maybe.
I mean, if they want friendship, we're offering them friendship right here. Like, this is the alliance.
They don't want just friendship, though.
No,
they
no,
actually
they
want something to guarantee that.
Yes.
And while words are nice, they can just get words from Gormy instead, who has 3 castles. And who is the current, acting Lord of the Marshes until the actual vote happens.
A alliance written in matrimony is a lot harder to break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly true. We can't, in that regard, our house can't really help.
Though if we all join together,
Well,
then
I mean,
we would
there
have a
is
strong force.
one daughter you have left to betroth.
Oswald?
Get Bree into... Well, you have almost had a go with the younger son.
That is true, and he is nice. I feel so sorry for Oswald. Poor
I don't.
dude.
He needs to man the fuck up.
You can help him, man.
You'll man him the fuck up, I'm sure.
It'd be a beautiful match, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that.
We could totally do that.
I like to imagine that sort of this conversation is what's on Decim's face. We could.
Is it like one of those
What kind
silent...
of match would that be? His eyes sort of trail to
Yeah.
Oswald. And sort of has like a scowling, frowning, wondrous look. Right you to this sort of twist his face.
His jaw is slightly agape, no.
Twisting.
And just Oswald's just cold sweat just pouring down his face. Oh no!
He's shooting daggers at him. Because if Oswald gets someone before they do, that's sort of by itself.
So sorry.
I mean, they're rich.
That's true. They are very rich.
They are very rich.
So, and that's not even enough. One of them will even inherit a lordship, and nobody has even accepted for just a moment, even like a cousin.
I mean, Bree is not a looker either. Let's be fair. You know?
That is true. Bree, how do you feel about...
How
We'll
old is
kill
the
both of them. They're not okay with that.
How old is the oldest Peaceberry, out of curiosity?
The Peaceberries are, fairly old at this point. The oldest one is probably in his early 20s. The other one is about maybe 18. None of them have been married yet.
It's not a terrible age gap, especially for this time period that is kind of
10 years, you know.
10 years is
beginning, they were sort of... They had, set up events where ladies could come and fight for their hand, almost, by the father. He was great parties and such, but nobody showed. And since then, it has just been more and more desperate and more humiliating.
Poor guys.
He bought them big barrel helmets so that nobody could see their face when they were riding out.
That's just harsh.
That is so sad.
That is so harsh.
They're ugly at the border of the reach.
I mean, yeah, we could offer Bree to marriage, although I have a feeling that Bree might burn Destiny to get away from that somehow.
You know, in all things considered, you'd probably be better trying to make a deal with House Peas, the Peas, than you would with House Trent, considering that, once again, affiliating with the Trants is the same fucking thing we talked about the first session. And we said no. They're blasphemers.
How much money would we get from the Peaceberries if we?
Probably a substantial amount.
Yeah, no, right? I mean,
we do also have a couple of years until Bree is like actually marriageable. This would just be a betrothal.
Yeah.
And then we can cross the bridge when we get there. Like, who knows? Maybe the Peasberries will die between then and now.
Who knows?
Nima assassinates the Peasberries for Breeze.
That happens every time Bree gets to engage with someone, and he just gets murdered.
The Black Widow. That makes it even more difficult.
The Black Widow of Caladan. Yeah. Let's see here. Do we have anything else?
Ashford looks over at you, sort of slightly questioningly. If you have something you want him to do.
Well, Decim looks over to Ashra. If he maybe wants to say a word, he's the closest we have to the Liege Lord, around.
He's also technically the highest status person here.
Yeah, the highest ranking. Maybe Decim would do with like a slight flourish towards Ashra and say something along the lines of that the opinion of Lord Tyrell has been called up as a reason for supporting Peak. Maybe Lord Ashra would share his opinion on the matter, because he is, after all, of House Tyrell, and he's the closest we have currently to the Liege Lord here.
He'll stand, sort of set his cup down, look at Alaric, so Alaric doesn't sort of drink it for him. He'll go out here and sort of look at him and says, "Thank you, Lord Caladan. So, the business of electing a Lord of the Marshes is generally something that is reserved for the Martial Lords to do on their own. But bear in mind that you are electing someone who will have the same power over you as I do." He sort of looks to the high table, sort of leans towards it, and finds like a glass of wine to flip so it falls, and the contents sort of flows over the table, and the wine goblet falls to the floor. It says, "Oh, excuse me, Lord Decim, would you be so kind as to pick it up for them?"
Decim's face darkens visibly, but he will do a curt bow, say, "Of course, my lord," and he will fairly clumsily, quite clumsily bend down and pick it up.
I sure will just gesture for you to put it on the table or something. Doesn't really care. He says, "That is the extent to which Lord Tyrell will use that authority. Think about what whoever you elect will do with it." He sort of gives a slight bow and goes back to sit down. People look at each other.
Decim turns around out and says, "That is a very compelling argument to me, at least. Lord Tyrell is honorable and chivalrous. Still."
So Ashra grins widely.
"And still, he is in the position of command me in my own keep to do this, and I cannot readily refuse. Imagine yourself what Gorman Peak would do in your own houses to you if any of his infamous fits of rage hits him. we are not safe. We would elect the wolf, a wolf, to guard over us and our cattle while we sleep. He would grin, and then he would do how he pleases, and we would be hard pressed to stop him. If we give him this power, if we allow him this, we are throwing ourselves at his mercy.
Trent looks over the crowd. He says, if Gorman Peak becomes the Lord of the Marshes, and he so wishes in a fit of rage, he will kill all of you and your families. Then he'll sit down.
Who says this, sorry?
Yeah.
There's
Trent.
Lord Boniford Trent.
Oh.
Doesn't
He
nod.
scowls at everyone.
Doesn't
And I
nod.
will not have that.
I want to kill you all and
He's
use
more
your
like a
blood for
face
magic.
that says, like, I don't know if that would be a bad thing, but frankly, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I get
He's
the
just
blood.
speaking truth. Yeah.
Yeah, Decim will nod solemnly.
He says he has the power to do so already. All he needs is the motivation. Slightly.
Which is why we must wrest this power from him while we still can.
He sort of stands up and says, I could take him.
That's the spirit, Selmy.
Man to man, I believe mine are better. He may have more, but if I lead the army, I will still call upon his forces, and they will still be with us, just not leading. Perhaps he shall be allowed to lead the van once in a while. Perhaps that will make him happy. So sit down. We don't need to fear him. He seems a little unsure himself.
Need to sell it more.
Lionel Dardarian seems to be very unhappy with the direction that these talks have gone. She's looking to say, nobody will kill anyone. His Majesty wouldn't allow such a thing.
Mm.
Everyone will kill everyone.
His Majesty is far away, I'm afraid.
It's a long ride for an army to get
right in
here.
the eye.
Yeah, he is far away, Dardarian.
Save you now.
Alaric, get him.
Hell's his long.
Didn't you marry
his
your
great
daughter
sword.
to a Dundarian?
Maybe.
Yes. Yes, I did.
What's that got to do with anything, huh?
Nothing. I'm just curious if it was that family.
New words of the house. Blood so easily broken.
But there are ways to break blood, oh yes. Isn't that like Lord Trent? The darkness I have seen. Yeah, no, I think this is a compelling argument. Do we have anything else we want to push? The other angle we want to instill in these people?
Why Caladan?
Caladan Flax, on your way out. Exit through the gift shop, please.
Yeah.
I'm like Lucas standing there in like a lovely little like hat.
Yeah, he's got like this makeshift little shop.
Makeshift? It's a grand shop.
It's a grand shop that was just knocked up a day ago.
It's an emporium, please.
It says emporium, but only one person could be behind the little bar.
Oh, did he have suffering nose?
It's like the shops in Fallout 4.
To get back to your query, Jonas, no, I don't think so with these folks all together as a group. Might not want to tell everyone immediately right now. Oh, and by the way, just so you all know, and then go on like the other things that we wanted to like do.
No. That's not. I just want to instill into these people that Peak is the worst pick we could possibly make.
Well,
Your relationship with the Peaks is
Yes.
certainly well known.
Thing is, they don't really have good relationship with anyone. So we're sort of.
They attacked us out of no fault of our own.
Yeah, just a grumpy, such a grumpy boars, you know?
The strong survive, man.
No, the flexible survive.
The
The
flexible survive.
flexible survive.
Ah!
To go to it though, I don't have anything else to suggest to you in the metagame to say to all these people gathered other than, I mean, vote